Okay, we're going to do an overview of diuretics. Okay, so remember the glomeruli brings in blood to the kidneys, and that blood is then filtered through renal tubules, and it's in the renal tubule is where it is determined whether it's going to be reabsorbed back into the blood or it's going to go out as urine. Okay, so we have one big renal tubule, so glomeruli brings this in. Okay. All right, so one of the first things in your proximal tubule, so we'll start there, proximal tubule. So this, okay. This is where about 60% to 70% of your sodium and your water is reabsorbed. Okay. And carbonic anhydrase it makes hydrogen ions which it exchanges for sodium. Okay, so you have here you have a small amount of potassium that's going to be reabsorbed. We're going to put a small amount. Small. Cannot write an M. It won't let me. So a small amount of potassium is absorbed. You have sodium that's absorbed here, reabsorbed, in exchange for those hydrogen ions that the carbonic anhydrase makes. Okay, and then a little bit further down you have loop of Henle. So I'll make this about right here. You have a loop of Henle. This is where about 20 to 25% of your sodium is reabsorbed. Okay, so right here we have sodium, and it's going in, being reabsorbed into the bloodstream. Down a little bit further, let's put a square around this so we can see where it is. So a little bit further we have the distal tubule. Okay, and this is where the remaining sodium is reabsorbed. And where you have potassium excretion. Okay. So you have sodium, it's getting reabsorbed. Potassium is excreted. We have potassium going out, and this all is regulated via aldosterone. Okay, and then lastly, down here a little bit further, we're going to have collecting duct. This is where antidiuretic hormone does its effects. And it's going to tell the kidney to keep water. Okay. Okay, so now let's talk about the different things, the different diuretics. So let's do a different color. Let's do the green. Okay, so I don't know why that is there. Hold on, let me erase that. Okay, so green, we're going to talk about the carbonic anhydrase inhibitors first. So carbonic anhydrase inhibitors. So they're going to inhibit production of hydrogen and bicarb. Okay, so there's no exchange here. So we have no exchange. Okay, and so what happens then, so your sodium is going to go out. In urine. Okay. Also, it can cause metabolic acidosis because it's not making the so this is going to go out in urine, and because it's not making the bicarb, it can cause metabolic acidosis. Okay, so our next one that we are going to talk about is the loop diuretics. We're going to do blue for these. So our loop diuretics. So these are going to block reabsorption of sodium. So this is just going to go out in urine, your sodium and water. Water too. Water goes with it. Okay. Water's going to go with all of these, basically. Okay. Next one we're going to talk about, let's make this one red. So we're going to talk about potassium sparing diuretic. It's going to block the aldosterone receptors. So that means sodium is going to go out in urine, and this potassium is going to stay inside circulation in the blood. Okay? So it's going to keep potassium in the blood. The other one we're going to, let's do one last one. Oh, no, it's not the last one, almost. Is the thiazides and the thiazide-like diuretics. So thiazide-like. Diuretics. They are going to block the absorption of sodium, potassium, and chloride. Okay, so these are just going to go, so your sodium, potassium, and chloride are all just going to go out in urine. Okay, the last one we're going to talk about, this one's going to be purple. And this is osmotic diuretics. Now, osmotic diuretics can affect the entire area. So it's a sugar, it's mannitol. Okay, so it's going to affect any area along here. Okay, so we're going to call this osmotic diuretic. And what it does is it adds sugar. So you're adding sugar. When we add sugar, it actually makes water come into the renal tubule. Okay? So we're adding sugar, which is making water come in. Because remember, water is going to follow sugar. So that's all it does, is it changes the osmolality of the fluid in the renal tubules, and thus you have, so sugar added is going to bring water in. And that's how osmotic diuretics work. And this is just a basic overview of how all the diuretics work.